What's going on, guys? Billy here, and today we're going to sit down and have a little chat about the XDynamics Evolve. Now, I've had this drone for about 2 weeks. I've been teasing some photos over on Instagram and Twitter. I've been talking to some people about the drone, answering some questions. I've also seen some people interacting amongst each other on the forums. And everybody seems to sort of discredit this drone just because it costs $2,500. Today, I want to try and knock out two birds with one stone. First of all, I want to combat everybody saying this drone is overpriced by talking about my own personal experience owning and flying this drone for the past 2 weeks. And I also want to answer the question I've been getting from everybody saying, is this drone worth $2,500? And you know, I'm in this weird middle ground because part of me says, yes, this drone is totally worth the $2,500, but there's another part of me that says, I don't think I'd pay this much for this drone. So anyway, what I want to do is go over everything in this video, all of my thoughts, but again, this isn't my review video. Think of it as like my first impressions. Anyway, let's get into it. So for those of you that don't know what this drone looks like, maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, here it is. Its body size is just in between that of the DJI Phantom and the DJI Inspire and blends features from the higher end Inspire series into a drone that is just a little bit bigger than the Phantom. I think that my favorite part about this drone is its remote, or as XDynamics calls it, the ground station. Yes, this thing is massive. Yes, this thing has 2 screens. And yes, it is an absolute joy to fly with. So to try and back up my argument and try to justify the cost of this drone, I figured we would take one of its competitors, the DJI Phantom 4 Pro, which a lot of people think is priced appropriately, and figure out why the Evolve is worth $1,000 more than the highest end Phantom drone. First up, we have to acknowledge that the remote has 2 built-in screens, so it makes it more like the Phantom 4 Pro Plus with its single built-in screen. That means we have to add $300. We also get 2 batteries standard with the Evolve compared to 1 standard with the Phantom, and the price of an extra Phantom 4 high-capacity intelligent flight battery is $169. The Evolve also ships inside of a hard shell backpack, and if you were to go and buy a backpack for the Phantom 4 Pro, like the one I've been using for, like 2 years now, the Polar Pro Drone Checker, then you're looking at adding another $119. With all of that said, in order to get roughly everything that comes with the Evolve for the Phantom 4 Pro, you'd be spending $2,087, which means that makes the Evolve $413 more expensive than the Phantom 4 Pro. And I think that there are a few specific things that make up for the extra cost, like material used, the overall build quality of all the components, and the larger size of the drone and the remote. There are also some specific features that the Evolve has, like a removable gimbal, the option to add a SIM card to the remote controller, and a LiDAR sensor built into the drone. Before I go any further, I've just got to say this is not a true comparison between the Phantom and the Evolve. I feel like people will think that I'm trying to sell the Phantom short, when in reality, it's one of my favorite drones, and if you've been subscribed to my channel, you know that the Phantom 4 Pro has gone everywhere with me. It's still, to this day, my favorite all-around drone. It packs a punch, it's got a great feature set, and I don't want you to think I'm trying to sell that drone short in order to put the Evolve up on a pedestal, but I'm just using this as a comparison's sake because I think these drones are very similar. Another thing you've got to remember is the Evolve is like 2.5 years older than what the Phantom 4 body style is. So this is the new kid on the block. It's the reason I'm giving it a chance, and I think that not a lot of people are giving it a chance. So hopefully after this video, your mind will be changed. Anyway, moving on, let's discuss the first thing I mentioned, which is the material used and the build quality of this drone and its components. I really don't think that I can explain how much I love the design and construction of this drone. It's made of a full carbon fiber body that is rigid and doesn't flex, and its propellers lock in tight. The drone is lightweight for its size. I mean, there is just really nothing like it. This is my pick personally for the best made drone that I've ever flown when it comes to build quality. Now, as for that remote, this too is such a joy to fly with, and I don't think that I can pick a remote out there that I like more than this. The bright dual screen setup is easy to use, it's easy to navigate, and I have a lot more flight information right at my fingertips on 2 easy to read screens. I've got a lot more real estate to look at. The sticks are adjustable and they feel accurate and precise, and overall I just feel cool flying with this thing. It's big, it's a little bit bulky, I know, but you get used to it, and you kind of never want to switch to anything else. The extra features that this drone gets to brag about, like the LiDAR sensor and that spot for the SIM card, are cool, but what really makes me happy is the removable gimbal. This means that I can swap it out for the gimbal XDynamics has designed to hold a FLIR thermal camera, or the Micro Four Thirds sensor that they are currently developing. Down the road, I also have the opportunity to upgrade just the camera and not the entire aircraft if they end up releasing more variants. This makes me feel better about spending more money on a drone drone, knowing I won't have to upgrade the whole thing in a few years. Alright, so look, we can sit here, we can look at it, we can discuss specs all that we want, we can talk about the camera all we want, but the one thing that's probably the most important when buying a drone or when deciding if a drone is worth the price is its performance. And what really sucks is there's no way to easily show you guys the performance of this drone and do it justice. I mean, I can't put a drone up there and try to chase it around because you don't really get a feel for how fast the drone is flying. And also, I could show you some videos of the drone hovering, but at the end of the day, you're just gonna have to take my word for it when I say that this drone flies great. Now, is it the best drone I've flown? No, I would say the Mavic 2 Pro is the best drone I've flown. It's so stable, it's so quiet, it's so agile, it's so fast. It is right now like the gold standard of drones, but they're two totally different aircraft. The Mavic is smaller, it's foldable, it's more compact and easy to break with the smaller motors, but with the big ESCs and the big motors on the Evolve, you get a little bit of a longer braking time on it, and it's also not as precise in my opinion, so it flies great, it's really quick. The advertised top speed is like 60 miles per hour, which is great, but I've never hit that. When I was down with Ken Dono flying in Florida, he got the drone up to like 54, 55 miles per hour, was totally blowing my Mavic 2 Pro out of the water, but yeah, the performance is good. There's really no way I can show it to you, sorry. Now, there are a couple of things that make me question this drone's cost of $2,500, like the camera, which only has a 1 by 2/3 inch sensor that takes 12 megapixel stills and shoots 4K video at 30 frames per second. Don't get me wrong, the video from this thing isn't bad by any means, but I like to shoot with the best camera that I have, and I would make sacrifices to do so, thus why I use the Inspire 2 so often. It just is such a shame that such a big drone has such a big camera that doesn't have the specs I'm looking for. I mean, they fit the same specs into the small Mavic Pro camera, just for example. Another thing that bums me out about this drone is its maximum range, especially for the price. I think that we can only fly like 4,921 feet. I could be wrong. Fact check me, but it's around that range. You can't go over a mile. I haven't range tested it, and I don't think that I will, but I like to have a little bit more range out of my drone because I like to fly to far islands. I like to go out over the water to, say, far away lighthouses. I like to chase trains over the Ben Franklin Bridge, and I don't think I could trust the XDynamics Evolve to do that. I would go with something like the Mavic 2 Pro or the Inspire 2 or the Phantom 4 Pro because their range is just unmatched right now. Now look, I could go over so many other things, but I don't want to spoil everything before I make my full review, and it's not like I don't want to give things away to you guys, but I want to wait until I get more hands-on time with the drone and more time to fly it. I like to usually wait until I log like over 100 hours, okay, not 100 hours, over 100 miles on the drone, and then I make my decision, or I guess I make my review. I'm kind of cringing thinking about reading the comments after this video. I know that when discussing price, it's kind of like a sensitive topic. But again, remember, these are my own thoughts. I tried to justify the price of this drone because at first I was like, this drone is expensive, but I took the time to read into it. I took the time to fly the thing, and after the fact, I do think it's worth it. There's a lot of people online right now talking about this drone that have only looked at its price tag and said, oh, too expensive, but they haven't taken the time to look into it. So if you guys think it's too expensive, that's your thing. You know, some people could look at the Inspire 2 and say that's too expensive, but have you looked into what the Inspire 2 offers, because it is a beast. Now, if you're okay buying, say, a couple $100 drone like the Spark and that's your jam, I have nothing against that. I mean, the Spark is a great little drone, but you've got to realize that when you spend more money, you get more, I guess, bang for your buck. But again, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd love to kind of continue this conversation, but I'm also cringing to see what people have to say. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Look out for my full review in a couple of weeks. And as always, I'll talk to you later. Peace.